give us a shout, do something, just let us know you're there. We appreciate y'all being here where we break down the Sunday morning sermon at City of Light Church. I'm Derek.
I'm Julius.
And I am Dina, and this past Sunday we just celebrated Party Crashers Sunday,
Woo woo.
which is the celebration of our 2-year generosity campaign, which we called Amplify, where in the past 2 years we were looking to amplify our people, our impact, and the city.
Right.
Yes, and we did such an amazing job over these past 2 years where through your generosity from the viewers and those that are on mission with City of Light, raised over $160,000 to get us to a grand total of $544,000 over 2 years. So clap it up. Let's drop some more emojis in the chat right now. Put the praise hands, put the clapping hands.
The little celebration ones, the poo,
Yeah,
the
the
things, the poo, put
But-
those in.
Yes, thank you so much for all of those that have contributed to the Amplify mission and campaign. So we are not able to do the things that we are able to do without your generosity. So we definitely truly appreciate you all.
Most def, we appreciate y'all, man. It takes a community. You know, it takes a community of people to help a community. You know what I'm saying? And it's definitely a blessing to see what City of Light Church and everybody that's a part of it has been able to do. Everybody out there, they're giving, and just it's awesome and it's amazing to see people come together just to help out the community and help out, the mission. It is Party Crasher Sunday, where we gave, where everybody was motivated to give and come together. Pastor Brian was basically talking about God crashing our party so that we can crash somebody else's party.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So basically, it's a domino effect of party crashing. Like, we do what we got to do with God. He crashes our party, and then we share the same experience with everybody else to show them that God is a party crasher himself. So we're party crashers because God is party crashers. We love people because God loves us. All that good stuff. And,
Amen.
Exactly.
back when he first started talking about party crasher, he was talking about he was coming from Luke 7 with the woman with the alabaster box.
Yep.
And really, it just broke down what being a party crasher is, in the sense of walking with God and just really just going after God, in that sense of where she wasn't necessarily invited to the party. She wasn't necessarily invited to what was going on, but she knew Jesus was there. And she knew what was possible if she showed up. So she didn't care about what anybody else thought about her sin. She didn't care about what anybody thought about her past decisions.
Yep.
She didn't care about what people saw when they saw her. She was like, I got to get God for myself. I'm crashing this party, and I'm making something happen.
Exactly.
And then when she got there, she gave everything to Jesus.
Right.
That was
Right,
a $12,000 jar.
Right, right. Like everything.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I mean, she poured it all out. Man, she was, like we were talking about, like that would have been weird to see this lady on her knees wiping up oil with her hair and her
Yeah.
tears, and like it would have been weird. But at the same time, it's like, I'm not gonna judge what you got to get from God. You know what I'm saying? And I think sometimes you just gotta allow people to get what they need.
Exactly. She had no shame in her game. That's what I say. And she and then Jesus checked. It was the Pharisee, right, that he was at. Or
Yeah, the
And he
Pharisee
was
house.
like, "You ain't do nothing for me when I stepped in. Like
Right.
this woman then came and used her most expensive perfume. I couldn't even get no food, no drink, no nothing. You just
No
wanted
water.
to have. You
Right.
just wanted to have the story."
The image.
Yeah, the image, the popularity to be like, oh, yeah, guess who was at my crib the other day?
Right.
And like, no, this woman came because she knew who Jesus is, and what he's able to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she's like, no, I don't need you. I don't need you for popularity. I need you to help me.
No, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. I mean, it's a hard thing, man. Like, it's really like everybody. Jesus was looking at everybody how they was looking at her, and basically was like, "What did you do though?"
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you care more about how it looks to be with me instead of actually doing what it takes to get what you need and to help other people get what they need.
Yeah.
So basically, we're just putting him on blast. Like, what have you done?
Exactly.
She's like, don't worry about what she's doing. She's getting what she needs. You need to focus on what you need to get, or focus on how you need to be living, or how you need to be. You know what I'm saying? Focus on your heart, because we got to get our hearts together, because we get so focused on trying to put other people on blast that we never look inward and deal with ourselves. And why you're so busy putting other people on blast, you're not working on your own salvation. You know what I'm saying? Or working on your own heart, or dealing with yourself, or looking in the mirror. You know, so
You're right.
this. But he came from, for this past Sunday, he came from Luke 1, and he was talking about Zechariah. And Zechariah and Elizabeth, the parents of John the Baptist, and basically talking about this process that he had to go through, and just basically how they were living their life. And we're gonna, Julius, you want to read 5 through 7 real quick?
Yep, I got you. All right. Starting with verse 5. In the time of Herod, king of Judea, there was a priest named Zechariah who belonged to the priestly division of Abijah. His wife Elizabeth was also a descendant of Aaron. Both of them were righteous in the sight of God, observing all the Lord's commands and decrees blamelessly. But they were childless because Elizabeth was not able to conceive, and they were both very old.
Right. So then,
Good people.
right.
Yeah.
But right. So, but then the question that Pastor Brian presented was, can you still hold on to God even when life hasn't turned out the way you've planned it?
That spoke to me because I've even been. I even talk about my journey to even coming to Milwaukee, and I work in college athletics, and I didn't think at one point I wanted to stay in athletics, and I wanted to make a career change, and this was like 2 years ago, and I wanted to get out of sports and go into something else, and I kept applying to, I thought I wanted to go into insurance. So kept applying, and I kept getting denied.
Right.
And I was like, yo, this is wild. And I'm like, man, I'm a pretty good, I feel like I'm a good candidate or a good worker. Like, I got a lot of skills or whatever, but it just didn't happen.
Yeah.
And then, of course, I applied to another sports role just because I was like, well, this is something I know I can do and I'm interested. And then, lo and behold, I got the job.
Right.
And I was like, okay, God, I understand. This is where you want me to be. And it's like, I was like, man, I just couldn't understand. And I was like, well, and honestly, in retrospect, it actually worked out in my favor because I ended up going to Houston and I worked at that university there. And then 6 months later, is how I got to Milwaukee is because the person that I currently work for reached out to me just on a whim and talked about, hey, I got this opportunity and I'm from Florida, so going to Milwaukee is not ideal for the weather change and getting, used to that stuff. But man, it was so God orchestrated that he wanted me to go this route because he had something better for me. So then I went from a job, which was sort of entry level back in Houston to now I'm in a director's position. So it came with a title raise. It came with a pay increase. And I was just like,
Man.
all right, God, you know what you was doing. I was like,
Right.
man, I was like, I don't know. God, you don't care about me. I'm trying to do something. Well, at least I'm trying to go down this path. But, he always knows best. And it
Right.
just kind of just when thinking of that question, it's like, am I going to hold on to God? I mean, that was just right there to
Right.
reminder, be like, don't ever doubt the power and the strength and what he's doing.
Yeah.
It's like, I can't see it, but I know in time he'll make things right.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I mean, that's good to hear you, because a lot of times we get caught up on what we want. You know what I'm saying? I imagine you heard Milwaukee and you was like, Milwaukee?
Exactly.
I'm from Florida. I'm from Florida. I'm in Houston. You know what I'm saying? Milwaukee. But if you would have decided to be like, no, I'm straight because of your own personal view, you would have messed up. You know what I'm saying? Now you would have had to go on a whole new detour to get where God wanted you to go. But because you stuck in that place, you eventually saw that. You eventually got to kind of see where God was taking you.
Exactly.
And a lot of times it's we just got to learn how to stick it out.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Don't quit too early. Because you never realize what are you really doing it for? What are we walking with God for? Are you walking with God because you want to see instant blessings every time you take a step, every time you move forward? Are you really just walking with God because you love him and he's got your back regardless?
Yeah, I think to go off of Julius's story, because mine is complete opposite. So I was born and raised here, and if you know me, you know I've been trying to get out of Milwaukee my whole life. And
Well, we're glad
feel
you're here,
like-
Dina.
Yes.
Thank you. I'm really glad to be here too. And I just I remember going through like graduating, like what you were saying, like graduating, right? And it's like, okay, like I got my degree. I'm gonna go out and do stuff for the Lord wherever you want me to go, God. And it's like, I called you to stay. And it's just, oh man, are you serious? Like, are you sure? You know? And then it's exactly that. It's sticking it out. It's seeing the promises come to light. It's like remembering God's faithfulness and then like allowing him to still move in the uncertainty of things. And when I think to like Elizabeth, it's like, I'm old, like, am I gonna have a child, you know? And like sometimes like as a woman, you know, it's just like, okay, God, I'm getting old, you know?
Right.
So like I feel like so many women could relate to that, right? It's just like, okay, like what is realistic, right?
Right.
What is realistic? And I think like we have to let God show up.
Right.
Let him party crash.
Right.
Your expectations.
Yeah. No, that's real though. Like when you allow God the chance to crash your party, like when you're on that grind with God, it allows God to interrupt when he wants to. You know what I'm saying? He's not, I think Pastor Brian mentioned, he was talking about God being our GPS. And like when things go a certain way, he knows how to detour us back. But if we're walking on that path, and he doesn't have to worry about detouring us back. If you're just walking on that path, it's like, oh, I can crash right here. I can crash right here. So if you're trying your best to just to walk that path with God, you never know when God's going to show up. And you know, he's not focused on trying to get you back to the path. Like he's not focused on the detour. He's like, oh, okay. I see you steady grinding. I see you steady doing. I see you steady walking. Let me crash this right here and show you a little bit of what I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? And the steps start to move forward, and you start to realize, like, oh, okay. Because a lot of times we get stuck in the same spot because we keep making detours for ourselves. Yeah. And he keeps so the work that God is doing is bringing us back to where we're supposed to be. And then we're like, well, God, why haven't I made it to this point yet? Because you keep turning left, and I'm trying to get you to stay straight. You get what I'm saying? So I think the focus is don't worry about how things look. If God's telling you to stay straight, stay straight. And don't turn left because left looks cool to you. Or because left looks like this, or because when you turn left, then he's got to recalibrate. He's got to bring you back to where you go so you can keep going straight again. And then it takes so much longer for him to actually crash the party.
Oh,
Exactly.
So
and eventually you're going to submit. One way or another, you're going to submit. So you keep making that left. He said, well, I'm going to keep turning you back around until you understand and you get it that you need me and I want to be there for you. So stop trying to live for yourself and do what you want, because that's not what I want for you. That's not what I see you. That's not how I see you glorifying me or my kingdom.
Like, please make a U-turn.
Exactly.
Please make a U-turn.
He's like, let me show you who I can be to you. You know what I'm saying? That's real. Like, let me show you what I can do. Like, give me a chance. We're not giving God a chance. We're getting mad at God because he's not doing anything, but then we're not giving him a chance to do anything. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, because we keep going around in the circle in the same spot because he keeps bringing us back to that. Like, I need you to move forward from here. And then we turn left and we come back. It's like, he's just like, let me show you what I can do. I want to show you something, but I need you to just take a few steps down this path for me so I can so you can gradually start to see what I want to do in your life. And I mean, that's crazy. You know?
It's crazy too, because then in the complete opposite direction, right? It's like you're going and you're going and you're going and you're not listening, and then it's just like, okay, well now I'm lost, you know? I'm lost.
Man. Right. Yeah, we get in that. I think that's the thing he was also talking about is like GPS. When you get into a dead zone, and like you're in a dead zone.
Yeah.
But the thing about God is like, God, like, I'm still here with you. I know you seem like you're all the way over here. I'm still with you. Just let me lead you. Let me guide you back. You know what I'm saying? And let me get you to this point. And I think also the crazy thing is when we read the Bible, and I might have brought this up before. When we read the Bible in like a few minutes. Like you read through like 50, 100 years in a few minutes, and forget that God takes time. You know what I'm saying? Like your process isn't going to be 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Like you'll read about stories with Moses or stories with Abraham or stories with, you know, what all the stuff Paul had to go through, like all the apostles, like the time it took from when they were born to when, like, Abraham wasn't called until he was like 70 something, and he didn't have a kid until he was 100. So you know what I'm saying? Like we look at all this and we're like, dang, God, just walk this walk with him and see what could happen. But don't walk it and get so impatient that you start to turn left and right and don't actually get you where he wants you to go.
I think going off your point, Derek, like even the one sentence, like, oh, they went to Jerusalem. Like, we don't know how long it took them to get to Jerusalem.
Right.
It's like, but that's in that one sentence. And it's like, and that took time.
Right.
So it took time to even write that sentence.
Right. Like we'll read it. Took like it'll be like 3 days walk until Bethlehem, and
Yeah.
we're reading it, and to us it's 30 seconds.
Yeah. 3-second walk.
Right. Right. A 3-second walk, but to them it was little like. So what all happened on this 3-day journey? Because I know what happens in my life in 3 days. You know what I'm saying? I got a wife, I got kids, like all the stuff that can happen in 3 days. You know what I'm saying? For us to be reading and we just expect God to move like instantly. And God's like, no, I need you just to live. You know what I'm saying? I feel like God wants us to live a little bit. He wants us to experience. He wants us to walk. He wants us to grind a little bit. And then he's going to show us once we get to Bethlehem or once we get to where we're going. He's going to be like, oh, okay. And we're going to be like, oh, that's why.
This is why
Yeah.
you took me here. Yeah.
Right.
I was going left and right, but now I know when I walk
Right,
straight,
right.
I actually had a destination and a purpose.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's
I've
real.
learned the hard way. Yeah.
So then we go back into Luke 1, 8 through 12. Dina, you want to read that?
So, once when Zechariah's division was on duty and he was serving as priest before God, he was chosen by Lot, according to the custom of the priesthood, to go into the temple of the Lord and burn incense. And when the time for the burning of incense came, all the assembled worshippers were praying outside. Then an angel of the Lord appeared to him, standing at the right side of the altar of incense. When Zechariah saw him, he was startled and gripped with fear.
So this is interesting because this is what Pastor Brian was trying to point out. Was like what was Zechariah doing when God showed up and crashed his party?
Praising
He
God.
was
Lighting
and at the same
incense up.
time he was serving others. You know what I'm saying? He was giving others a chance to pray. Because when he burns the incense, it gives everybody, it shows everybody this is the time of worship, this is the time of prayer, type of thing. So it's like, so he's serving in what he's supposed to serve, and then God shows up. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times we want God to show up outside of our serving, or like God, show me something first, and God was like, walk with me a little bit first. Show me that you appreciate my love. Show me that you appreciate what I've done for you. And then so we walk. So he's sitting here working. You know, they're getting old. His wife is barren, and he's just like, all right, well, God, I still trust you, regardless. And he's still doing his thing. And finally, God shows up to answer his prayer.
Yep.
Within his serving of other people, and within him setting the table for other people to get to God, to other people to pray. You know.
Yeah, I think of like he was serving with a joyful heart.
Right.
Exactly. So he wasn't making it about him. He knew he had his own problems with Elizabeth and what they were going through, but he didn't let that stop him from continuing to help others
Right.
and you know, get them the opportunity to praise and worship God. And as you mentioned, boom, as he's doing this, and it's like I think us as individuals, we might want a cookie cutter process to where, oh, we did one thing. All right,
Right.
God, where's my blessing at?
Right.
Because
Yeah.
I helped this person, or I did. I said sorry to that person that cut me off on the road. No, you got to do a little bit more. You got to work a little bit more and continuously, and don't try to get a quick fix or a quick reward because
Right.
you did just one thing that day when it's supposed to be a day in and day out journey. And getting and walking with Christ and serving others and using, you know, whatever talents or gifts God has given you to help, you know, someone else with what you know already have within.
Right. I always heard in the past people say we like to pimp God,
Ooh,
like we like to get what we need from God and then
Amen.
go on about our business.
Yeah.
And I think God is like, no, I need to test your heart first. I need to see where the capacity of your heart is first. I can't just keep giving you this stuff and just allowing you to abuse the grace. You know what I'm saying? Like the grace is out there for you to live, but if you want to see the fullness of who I am, I need to see you walk with me a little bit. You know, so no, that's real.
And I think what Zechariah did, he was like allowing the people to worship and praise, and then also aligning them with God, right? And I
Man.
think it goes into that next point where like when you show up for people, God shows up for you.
Right.
And so when you align the paths for people, God will align your path for him.
Right.
And I think that it was just like I just love how like God showed up. Like,
Right,
how
right.
God just like party crashed on
Right.
everything that was happening, and it was like Zechariah, like this is for you too.
Right. God's circle of love. You know what I'm saying? Like you've received my love. You're walking in my love. Now share it. And see what happens once you share the love that I've shared with you. You know what I'm saying? Share the appreciation. Share the gratefulness. You know.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean. And then he went on to I think it was interesting when he was talking about that insurance policy. He talked about when the tree,
Oh, the tree
when the tree
fell
hit the
between
house,
him and his
then
neighbor.
they said
Yeah.
they can't help him because it was an act of God. And I'm like, oh, now you want to claim God. Now, you know what I'm saying? Now people outside of God want to talk about, oh, that's an act of
Exactly.
God. Oh, now it's an act of God. But then the other time, you know what I'm saying? So it's just kind of crazy how there's certain policies in place that are called acts of God.
Yeah.
But then the fact of the matter was, it still turned out in their favor.
Like it's still an act of God.
Right, it's still an act of God. Like
Yeah.
it was basically like a reminder to Pastor Brian within that story was showing him like, oh no, this is an act of. It was like God using them to tell him, no, this is an act of God. Don't expect nothing like you. Don't expect nothing to be logical or simple within this situation. And then it kind of played out, and then all of a sudden the blessing started to show up. He was like, see, it was an act of me.
Yeah.
And I think it's kind of we got to give God the opportunity to act. And we got to keep, like, we get so caught up on when things happen. And then we get so distracted. We get so upset. We get so caught up in our emotions. And God is just like, no, this is an act of me. Walk it out. Watch what I can do. Watch what I'm capable. We never give God that chance.
Exactly. And like it said here, if it ain't good yet, it ain't done yet.
It ain't good yet, it
As
ain't
we're
done.
going through, the tough seasons, it's like if it ain't good yet, guess what? There's something more to come. So stay
Right.
patient.
Right.
About it, man.
Right. The sufferings of this present time are not worthy to be compared to the glory. You know what I'm saying? That's one of my
Yes.
favorites. Romans 8:18 is like what you're going through now means something. And it's leading to something. But if it's not, like you said, if it's not good yet, that means I'm still working. But you have to trust that it's going to be good, that it's working
Wow.
for good. You know what I'm saying? And that's real. And
I think when there's that tension too of like you trying to trust like what you're giving, like you're trying to give something to God, right? You're trying to trust God with everything, and you do feel tension. It's just like, man, like I'm kind of scared,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
kind of nervous, but like God, I want to trust you. Like there's
Yeah.
anxiety, but God, you're greater than that.
Yeah.
Like I'm scared, but God, you're greater than that. So I'm gonna give it to you. And I think like there are so many times when I found myself in that tension, and it's just like, okay, God, it's all you. It's all you. I'm giving it, like
Right.
like I'm trusting that you're gonna show up.
right.
Yes.
No, that's I think it's crazy for me. I feel like I talk about this all the time, but like my story is my story. So like when I graduated high school, like barely graduated high school. When I tell you I barely graduated, like I found out I was graduating like the day before graduation.
Ooh.
So I graduated, and after that, I was like, my life is complete. For me, like I didn't have much goals. Like I was just happy that I didn't think I was gonna graduate. So I'm like, for me, I'm bagging groceries at Pick and Save, and I'm just like, whatever. And then, this girl walks in, and I'm like, oh, she's kind of cute or whatever. And I should have just stayed away,
Oh.
but I didn't stay away. I went after it, and now, 12 years later, I'm going on 10 years of marriage with 5 kids. And
So who
Um,
party crashed, Derek?
right.
Who was the
Oh.
party crasher?
God used her to party. Okay, and to get to the real stuff, God used her to because I didn't have any guide. At that time, I didn't really know much of God. I wasn't in church, nothing like that. Like I knew, I believe he was there or whatever, but it wasn't like, I didn't know anything outside of like, oh yeah, I think there's something there type of thing. So then she walks in, and then from there, I just start figuring out a whole bunch of stuff just from her walking into the store. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I get to know her. I'm talking to her. You know what I'm saying? And all of a sudden we get to talking, and then I go to church with her, and then you know what I'm saying? I get to know a little more about myself. I get to realize God talks to me, and then I realize, oh, this is where my passion is. Like, and I start learning about God. I start this, and then now all of a sudden I'm on the rewind, and I got, you know what I'm saying? I've been married for 10 years. I got 5 kids, and you know what I'm saying? It's like all this stuff, but like as it was going on, you know what I'm saying? Her going through school, me working paycheck to paycheck, and us kid, and then another kid, and another kid. But the whole time, even through our steady grind and our steady, giving and trying to do what we thought was right, God kept looking out for us.
Yeah.
Every step of the way. We always had enough. We always just had enough to pay the bills. We had just enough to take care of each kid. And now we're at a place where it's like it's slowly elevating. And I can only give God praise because back before I even knew anything about God, I didn't have any plans for myself. But now you know what I'm saying? Now I'm on my way to doing things. I'm starting to get interested and passionate about things, and my wife is in her career, and our kids are growing up, and you know what I'm saying. It's just crazy to see, to look back at the journey and to be like, man, God, I thank you for sticking it out with me and giving me the strength to keep on walking with you and showing me that you can take care of me even when other people from the outside look like, what are you doing? Why are you getting married so young? Why do y'all keep having kids? Why are you doing this? And now we're in a place and we're just like, well, God had it. You know what I'm saying? Like, what can you say now? You know what I'm saying? People can't say anything because it's like it was in God's hands the whole time.
Yeah.
So God, keep us in your hands, because I don't know where I would be without me walking with you. And I didn't mean to get all into that, but I think it just kind of speaks to.
I'm saying no, it's good, and that's your story and that's your testimony.
Right.
So speak on it, and we ain't gonna stop you from that. But I think you even touched on like this next point, talking about some. I can even say you meeting your wife was like an interruption,
Right.
in that and it advanced you.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
you didn't see it coming, and it's like then
Yeah.
you started going to church. And then you started to get to know the Lord more, and you found I got a spark for this, and I have a passion for this.
Right.
And we clearly see it every week when you're up here, how you speak on, about the Lord and what He's done in your life. So I look at it, that could be an interruption in that, and how now He's placing different visions in your mind and different interests that you probably never had.
Right.
And it's like this is how God is working in your life. So I mean that's something that like whenever something disrupts your normal path, it's like this could be for the good. Like,
Right.
We're like, man, it's kind of thrown off from what I'm normally accustomed to doing, but you go down this alternate path,
Right.
you start making those left and those rights, and you just go down this other path, and it's like, oh, look what God's bringing me to. Look what
Right.
God's showing, how He's showing up in my life, how He's blessing me, how He's advancing my career, how He's
Right.
blessing my relationships with people, how He is giving me a heart of forgiveness now. He
Right,
gives me
right,
a
right.
heart to serve or care for others, and it just kind of molds you into somebody that you weren't before, but now you're doing it with a positive and happy attitude, because you're just like, man, this is only God within
Right.
me that is transforming my heart and my mind to want to like glorify Him the best way I can.
Right. And now it's my job to be the party crasher.
Yes.
Because I can look back and be like, God, I saw how you crashed, how you came and crashed into my life and steered me this way. So now I'm crashing into people's lives on the rewind,
Come
trying
on,
to help
Derek.
them. Hey, look at what God can do. Look at how this word spoke to us. You know what I'm saying? Now we're the party crashers because of the journey that we've all been on. We're able to share, hey, look, look how God can crash this party. And I think it's just crazy, just to see the just what God can do through our processes. And because it's like really you have to see it. You have to see the small things while you're walking with God. Because sometimes it's not always going to be boom and He crashes it. You have to appreciate the little things until that moment happens. Like, oh, look, I see you right there. You got to see God in it. Because as long as you can see God a little bit in what you're doing, you'll never want to go right or never want to go left, because you're like, God, I see you. I know this is tough, but God, I see what you're doing. I can kind of see I don't know the full understanding. I don't know when that crash is going to happen, but I know, God, I see you working. You gotta open your eyes. You gotta talk with God. You gotta pray to God and let Him help you see what He's doing in your life, and He'll show you.
Exactly. Gray Matters. Shout out to Corey Syfax.
Oh,
Gray
man,
Matters.
Hey, Corey.
Yes, that
Shout
little
out to
journey,
Corey.
that
Somebody tag
journey.
Corey so he actually watches.
Exactly. that journey, people overlook it, but
Right.
no, while you're in the midst of that
Gray
journey,
matters.
you see those little things, and it's like, that's what I'm holding on to.
Right.
That I've seen you show up here and there. So now I'm just waiting on a big bang.
Right.
But it's like, I'm going to keep going down this path because you've shown me time after time after time that you showed up for this, you showed up for that.
That
So
the
why
gray
would
does matter, right?
Exactly. So why would I leave now?
Yeah.
I think what I like most about like interruptions is that like it reminds you that it was never your plan in the first place. Like it was never your own plan in the first place. Like God's got you, and He's interrupting to bring you higher, to take you to another level, to elevate you really in whatever it is that you're holding on to, right? Whether that be your career, whether that be your finances, whether that be your relationships, your dating or married, whatever it is, or whatever needs even like reconciling. I think that God shows up. He will show up. He will interrupt just to tell you that like, I got it under control. It's not about you,
Right.
Never
right? I
was.
got it
Right.
under
Never
control.
was, yeah.
And so I think that's the best thing about interruptions.
Right.
It's God. It's
Right.
Him showing Himself.
I think God's interruptions are way more important than us trying to meet our own plans.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'd rather have God interrupt any time, because when God interrupts, it's way more of a bigger deal than me doing what I want to do. You know what I'm saying? Because his thoughts are above our thoughts. You know what I'm saying? He's greater than what we, you know what I'm saying, that we could ever imagine. And
Yeah, it's like, why you want to settle for this
right,
when you can go with God to
Right.
this level? So
right,
that's a simple way that I look at it.
right.
Yeah.
And it's within the walk. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times we think we look at success within the material things, and God is like, look, but watch how much I can do on the inside of you, to where you can actually touch other people's lives. You might want to go after this success and this image that you think is the right thing to do, but I'm really trying to work on your heart, because somebody needs to hear you. Somebody needs to hear your story. Somebody needs to know what you've been through. And everybody out there, somebody needs to hear you. You know what I'm saying? Just keep on grinding, keep on walking, and watch what God will do through you. Watch as you stick this thing out with God. Watch how He touches this person through your life. Watch how He touches that person through your life. He's gonna use your story. He's gonna use your moment. He's gonna crash your party, and He's gonna show you that He really does want to be a part of your life, and He does want to do something special with you. And then so the final scriptures that he was in was Philippians 2:5-8. It's basically just talking about our relationships with others, and one another have the same mindset as Christ Jesus, who being in the very nature of God. And it basically talks about Jesus being God, but humbling himself to be a servant.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He humbled himself to be a servant, and walked this life out knowing that there was a greater purpose in him serving than there was in him being in the limelight. You know what I'm saying? Or being this great grandiose thing. You know what I'm saying? And
I say he's just so cool, man, and
Right.
so humble with it.
Right.
Like, I clearly, like, he knows I have the same power as my Father, but
Right.
I'm not using it. I'm not abusing it. I have humbled myself to the point where I'm going to serve you. And like the most, like, I think the verse or the words that stick out the most to me is that becoming obedient to even death on the cross. Like, man, I'm like, come on now. Someone tell me, yeah, you got to die for all these people. I'm gonna be scared.
Right.
But it's like Jesus took that like with a grain of salt and was like, I understand.
Yeah.
And just walked and did that. And so, when people ask like, oh, well, what does God mean? And what do Jesus mean? I'm like, that's my salvation, man, because only He is the one who died to deaths that paid the prices for everybody. And like, there's no way I could ever repay that.
Right.
And like, it's just something I always think about. Like, man, like He cared. I was that important to
Right.
God that He was like, I'm gonna send my son for you. I'm gonna have him, die so that you don't ever have to live with the guilt of sin and
Right.
let that reign over you. So
Right.
I mean, that's just something personally that just I think about when I think about Jesus and what He's done for me.
Could you imagine, like just in terms of talking about party crashers, like Jesus, like party crashed on the world,
Man.
On the world.
and it's just like and then even in his resurrection, like
Mhm.
like it's just crazy, and
Yeah.
you're just in awe of Jesus.
And it was the ultimate, obviously the ultimate crash of a party,
Yeah,
especially because he didn't come the way that everybody expected him to come.
exactly.
He came, like you said, he came as a servant. He came humble. He came like, this is not what I'm not here for what you think I'm here for. I'm here to crash this party. I'm here to give everybody a chance to have that same opportunity to go after God. You know what I'm saying? Like, he came and he ripped the veil and now gave everybody a chance to have that same opportunity to go to God and be like, you know what, God, I need you. I want to walk with you. And God's like, all right, come on. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, like he just wiped away. He wiped that thing away that was blocking us from really getting to God, and that was sin. And all you got to do is accept that thing and be like, oh, God, like, I appreciate what Jesus did. I appreciate what you did through Jesus, and now I can walk with you. I can talk with you. I can grow. I can mature. I can learn. I can understand. I can serve. I can help. There's so much that you can do within this outside of, you just walking your selfish walk. You know what I'm saying? So, and it's really, and that at the end of the message, what the point that we wanted to drive, especially being Party Crasher Sunday, was, take this moment and this time to think about somebody else, and take this time to just really think about, who does God, what does God want to do through you? What is God working through you? Just take a step back and just pray and be like, God, what are you doing? Because you never really realize whose God is trying to touch. You never realize what God is trying to do. He's trying to turn you into a party crasher. He already sent Jesus to crash your party, but just allow God to walk with you. Allow God to talk with you and show you like, oh, so you want me to, okay, this is why I went through this. This is why I suffered through this. This is why I did this. Like, there's a reason for all of it. And we just got to know that's what it's for. Like, it's all on purpose. None of it is in vain. And just everybody out there, just know God is with you. We're praying for you. You know what I'm saying? We appreciate you visiting the Rewind. We appreciate you watching out there. We love all of you. We thank all of you for being here. And we just want you to know that God is walking with you. God wants to use you. God wants to love you. Just let him love you. Let him walk with you. And we just thank y'all so much. Check the link out. If you like the Rewind, check the link, give it to the link so we can keep on doing what we're doing, so we can keep on reaching people. We thank y'all so much. We love you. God bless.